Okay. Okay. Setting things up. Oh, I should get a piece of paper and a pen. Um, well, I got a piece of paper. Now I need a pen. I'll be right back. Ah,
Hey, did you start?
yeah, I started it. And I am thinking ahead this time. I have a piece of paper and a pen to make timestamps, so I don't have to watch the video.
Oh, nice.
I've been having to watch
Nice.
the videos to make timestamps, and it's been really annoying.
Okay.
Okay. I also made a little thing for the bottom, although I made it stupidly. It has our names and like Twitter things, and but I made it dumb, so I'm probably gonna break it. It's gonna really annoy me when I break it, but I'm gonna pretend it doesn't annoy me. Hi Keith.
Are you gonna stream as well on Discord? So,
I am. I should be.
okay. Let me try to watch stream. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Nice.
Hello everybody. We're just getting set up. Okay. So how are you doing, Constantine?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I I've been sleeping a lot lately, which has been nice because I went like a month without sleeping, so I'm like catching it up. Anyway,
Right. Great.
uh okay. So let's get started, I guess. Well, I guess first we have two topics to talk about today. The first topic is just like the general news, and the second topic is that I wanted to talk to Constantine about the money he's been raising and the gadgets he's been buying for all of his friends in Ukraine. So I don't know which topic you want to do first. Do you want to do your charity work first, or do you want to do
Sure.
the news first?
I don't know. Let's do it in the middle.
I'm
Let,
too
let,
quiet. They're saying I'm too quiet, which makes sense because last
yeah.
time I lowered my volume like all the way. Because like uh last time was a disaster. But it should be better now. It should be I'll increase my volume once I remember how to do that. Is this better? Is this volume better? I'll just keep raising the volume until someone says it sounds better. Okay. I'll just keep pumping it up. I'll just keep going. I'll go to 200%. Okay. Is 200% better? Yeah, I mean, there's always that. Well, last time, I mean, the microphone situation was okay for a while, and then last time was a disaster because, like, uh, like language learner was like way too quiet and I was way too loud, so I had to like just fiddle with all the knobs to make it sound okay. Okay, so it's better now. Okay. Uh, I guess we'll do the news first because I don't know.
Yeah, let's start with the update.
Okay, I'm gonna switch to the other type of map. First, um, well, I'm gonna reload my page to see how many people are in the chat. Okay, okay, okay. So first, the news around Kupyansk has been interesting. Uh, Constantine is too loud. I can fix that. That's a button I can press to make him less loud.
Destroy me.
There is no language learner. There's the language learner is not here. Okay, Constantine, talk. Tell the people something.
Yes, can you hear me well right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna fiddle over the knobs. Yeah, you can't hear a language learner because he's not here. Is the sound okay now? Because I could keep fiddling with the nods. Which okay, he's too loud. Is he too loud or am I too quiet? Because it could be both. Okay. Okay, now let's try it. Okay. Cheer Chuck Ferrer up. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm pumped on steroids.
Okay. So is the sound okay now? Can we start?
Yeah, I think we can start.
Okay. So the news around Kupyansk has been interesting.
I didn't realize he was with Jack Ferrer here.
um Basically, north of Kupyansk, Ukraine has set up their defenses along the train tracks. I'm gonna go to the 3D view because maybe that'll help. Um, they've set up their line of defense along these train tracks, and the trains goes north through Dvorichne, and it basically goes south to Kupyansk. So this whole train track area, especially the part north of Sinkivka, is all the main Ukrainian defensive line. And in the past few days, the the Russians have pushed to this defensive line, and they sort of um like a probing sort of attack. They were they pushed Ukraine out of the gray area, and they claimed the gray area for themselves, and they pushed Ukraine back to their defensive line. So now Ukraine is set up on this defensive line, and Russia is kind of sitting in this forest opposite that line, and it's kind of playing a game of chicken, I guess. The Russians are kind of just waiting, maybe, to attack. Uh, they seem kind of afraid to attack. They probably don't have the forces to do it right now. In the meantime, Ukraine has been pushing recon units through this the area a little bit to the east. This is kind of a porous defensive area for Russia, where Ukraine has been able to push units past the front line. Small groups, like like 4 people or something. They've been pushing through and setting up minefields and setting up mines along these roads, just trying to disrupt the Russians in this kind of Kupyansk area. So the general idea here is, if Russia ever starts attacking in earnest, which they haven't yet, they would have to deal with mines and various disruptions behind them while they're pushing forward. And that would probably be annoying, I imagine. So that is more or less what's happening in the Kupyansk area. We still have reports of fighting in the Kuzimivka area. And Konstantin, you may know more about that than I do. Have you heard from your friends there?
So I don't have much to add here. I have friends over there, but I have not spoken regarding this. I don't think there were much changes, and it's just as is. I don't have any updates on this one.
Okay, but I've heard that they're still fighting in the Kuzmivka area. Some say
Yeah,
that,
definitely. There is like there was no change. Kuzmivka in terms of
yeah,
the line. Kuzmivka was not taken. I know that Russians are taking losses. I've seen some videos, and they lost a tank recently over there, and they lost a BMP-3. But yeah, I don't have much more information. However, I know that our forces did not yet liberate or moved into Kuzmivka.
yeah. So Grey Wolf is asking how many mines can like 4 people carry. Probably not that many, but if you have a whole bunch of different groups of 4 people, it might be a bunch.
Which mines are you talking about?
Like anti-tank mines.
Anti-tank mines?
Yeah,
Those are heavy, and there aren't that many people who are allowed to work with the explosives. So I don't think that 4 people can carry too much. Considering that in addition to the mines, you also you have to take a ration with you, water, your backpack, you carry weaponry, you can carry your body armor, and you cannot take too much payload. It's probably 1 or 2 mine 1 person can carry,
yeah.
realistically.
And the idea isn't really to close down all of the roads with mines. It's more just to be annoying. Because if like a convoy is going down the street and one of the trucks hits a mine, I mean that's not great for the convoy, right? So anyway, it's to be annoying. It's not to like to stop the Russians. It's not to like make a big minefield. Yeah, you'd have to with a mine.
You definitely can like 1 mine to a convoy. If it strikes it, it can it's damaging, of course, even if you have 1 vehicle lost. The convoy, depending on the mission, it can actually say, okay, we're going back because we lost key vehicle, for example, or alternatively, they can just be, you don't know what's in front of you, and you have to either call a demining squad or someone else to help you moving forward. Of course, if your mission is something different, and you roll right with the losses, you can keep pushing through. But yeah, you're definitely going to be delayed by a big period of time, because even if when the mine explodes, you would expect infantry to dismount if there is one. You wouldn't expect an engagement, even if there is no someone in the ambush. But the mine is a mine, and yeah, it does 1 mine can stop a convoy. But the problem is that with 1 mine, you just to make sure, like it's really hard to use 1 or 5 mines to place them correctly for them not to be spotted, but know that the convoy is going to be there. So it's it's usually the strategies is just to mine everything possible, and you cannot do this with 4 mines, obviously.
Yeah. Anyways, so moving down south. So Kuzmivka is more or less unchanged. The all more or less like all this area is kind of unchanged. The Russian attack west from Chervonopopivka has run into a lot of issues. First, it didn't seem that the attack was very committed. Like they didn't. It wasn't. It doesn't seem that this was their primary attack. It seems that more that this was like probing Ukrainian defenses, pushing into the gray areas, claiming some gray area for their own, and that seemed to be more or less the extent of their intention. It wasn't so much to go capture these towns yet, apparently. And there were a few defensive positions that Russia has claimed to have captured, although I honestly have no idea where they are because they used like the local name of the position, and I don't know where that is. Like I don't know who to ask either. So, but the Russians claim to have captured a few of these smaller defensive positions, which I can't refute or confirm. So, but other than that, there's not too much. And then the same is more or less true in the area of Kreminna, where I've heard that there's been really bad weather recently for drones, so they've not been able to fly their drones as much as they would like to. I've heard a lot of Russians complaining about the lack of drone reconnaissance in the past like 2 days. They're generally trying to fight through Dibrova and towards Yempolivka, but so far they have not been able to get as far as they wanted to. Like kind of going this way, but they've not been able to get as far as they wanted to. And at this point, they're kind of running out of time. And there's kind of a psychological operation going on where like Canada sent one of their tanks to Poland or to Ukraine really, and in doing so, they were kind of signaling to Russia that the West is coming to Ukraine's aid in the near future, and that Russia has to start acting quicker if they want to achieve their goals. So there's this kind of psychological fight going on where the West is kind of urging Russia to attack now when they don't really have a it's a bad time to attack because the weather is kind of poor and the ground is still kind of soft, but they're afraid that if they don't attack soon, Ukraine could attack before they get to attack, which would mean that the Russian offensive would lose their initiative. So at this point, it seems that this attack near Kreminna, which they hope to push Ukraine back further, at least to this river, to push them, out of Torska into Zarichna, so that they would be on the wrong side of the river, and similarly push them out of Nevska and Makivka. But so far they've been unable to really get into this offensive, partly because of the weather, and partly because they're just not ready to attack. They don't have the forces set up yet. So I don't know if you have anything to say about that, Constantine.
So about this region, I have two people over there, but all of them are on vacation right now,
Okay.
and they really, they don't have time for me.
Yeah.
And the reality is that yeah, I cannot say anything about it. So.
Do you have any what do you feel about the idea of Russia running out of time? Um, with
Mm,
regards to the
so
weather.
I would say that they are running out of time because they have to rush this before Ukraine gets more weaponry, more artillery specifically, because we're not only getting IFVs finally and tanks, we're also getting the artillery. And also the BMPs are also on the line, but I don't think they're running out of time in terms of weather really here, because the area around Kreminna is somewhat it's almost the same no matter which weather it is. It's mostly sand, and sand is it's pine forest with a lot of sand in there, and I don't think it's with the time when the spring is coming. I don't think it's gonna change too much.
Okay. But that sandy part, is that just around Kreminna, or is that true like all through here, like Liman and all these other areas?
Um, well, it's true about the forest.
Okay.
So I don't know about south. Oh, sorry, north from the forest. I don't really know about that, but it's it. I don't think it's gonna change much personally if when the spring comes, specifically here. That's my take on it. Once again, I may be wrong over there, but as I remember, for example, Ukraine when Ukraine pushed the Kreminna through the forests, it was happening like there was some couple of days when it was really cold, but generally it was not. It was not cold. The weather was like average spring weather in Ukraine. And sand, it does not. I mean, it yes, sand is hard to navigate through, but with the weather, I'm not sure that it gets as bad as mud does.
Yeah. And yet, yep, Germany did send a little tiny model leopard, and it was kind of cool and like a little like resin thing. That was cool. So, anyways, in the Siversk area, um, this is becoming a very important area of the upcoming conflict. Like, I think Siversk is going to be one of the most important areas for the next maybe month or so. I don't know. But in this area, first we have
So,
okay,
I've heard the claim a couple of days ago, I think, that either Wagner or someone else claimed to capture Bilahorovka.
yeah,
Do you know anything about that?
they claimed this and it was wrong. The main claim came from, I don't remember his name. He's like the fake head of Luhansk. Um, I can't remember his name. He's like the head of the LPR or whatever. He's the guy who said they captured it, and he's like a notoriously unreliable news source. Like he just lies all the time about everything. So
Is that Pushilin or who was that?
I can't remember his name. He's like the head of the LPR. I know that. Anyway, so he said that this town was captured. It wasn't. It, what Russia did is that they had most of their forces kind of here-ish, and they moved like here. So now they have like more forces here. Although I still consider it a gray area, but they kind of just moved there. And then they said they captured the town. And that's not how anything works. So the town is still under it now. The Russians are kind of walking it back and saying it's contested, which I mean, you could probably say it's always been contested. I'm not really sure, but whether you want to say it's contested or Ukrainian controlled, I lean towards Ukrainian controlled. It's contested at worst. It's definitely not Russian controlled.
Got it.
Uh, Verkno Kamyanska, this town, I've heard very little news from, but recently I heard a rumor about this town. And I've heard no actual news about this. This rumor is kind of the only news I've heard. But I heard that this town, the Russians had entered the town and taken at least part of the town, and then that the Ukrainians pushed them back out. And I don't know if that's actually true, but that's like the only thing I've heard about this town in like a really long time. So I have no idea. But it might be false. I'm not really not sure. And now getting into the more important areas is a Spirne, where Spirne is a town that has a very large amount of underground features. Part of it has to do with this facility here, and this has some underground stuff involved. There's lots of tunnels. I believe some of these tunnels might be natural. I'm not sure entirely, but more or less, there's tunnels that kind of go this way, and then there's kind of stuff that goes like that, I think. And then I think there's like another one like here. But anyway, the purpose of these tunnels, in a military sense, is that Ukraine is capable of both resupplying the town underground and storing those supplies underground where they're safe from artillery strikes and airstrikes. And they can also go into these tunnels and sleep at night where it's safe. Whereas any attackers who try to move into this area do not have any of those advantages. So, for example, this forest is the primary way that Russia is trying to enter the town. So they're kind of moving this way and then like that, trying to get in. And when they move through these forests, is that they're open to all of the artillery fire, and they're going up against entrenched Ukrainian forces. And the Ukrainians not only have these underground tunnels, which are, I think some of them are natural and some of them are like industrial, like concrete, like reinforced concrete things. And then on top of that, they also have, they've built bunkers and trench networks that connect these tunnels. So this town has been under attack for a very, very long time. And Russia has, at one point in time, they got around here in the town. Like, they controlled like this box, and then Ukraine pushed them out. So this Spirne has been under Ukrainian control basically the entire time, and has been under direct assault for basically as long as Bakhmut has. So Spirne is a vital defensive town for Siversk.
Well, Spirne is on the low ground, right, itself. So I'm just trying to understand of what is the like implications of that, because it's right at the bottom of the hill, right?
Yeah, but Ukraine also controls the hill, at least
Oh, yeah, that's
partially. So
you got it.
the main thing about the town is just this underground components combined with the the trenches and bunker systems. They just all synergize together to make the town very difficult to attack. In fact, a lot of areas that have just natural underground positions have held for a long time. I mean, like Soledar was an example, although it eventually fell, but it's another story. But these underground components just help in the defense. So getting to the southern part of uh, of the Siversk area, there's these towns here. There's one sec. There's here. I'll zoom out a little bit. And I'll change my color. There's these towns like this or like that, and then there's kind of these towns. Now, these are kind of the two defensive lines. If we do zoom in, we can see James Vasquez. But anyways, these are the two main defensive lines for Siversk, where um, Vesele is a very, very tiny town, but what's important is the hill behind it. Avdiivka is a larger town. Fedorivka is another larger town, and Vasyukivka is another larger town. And then there's a hill. There's hills like here-ish and hills here. So these hills cover basically all of the towns, so they're very difficult for Russia to assault. Now, if I go into the 3D view, you can see these hills. You see this hill overlooking Vasyukivka, and this hill looking over Fedorivka, and this hill looking over Avdiivka. So, and then there's this hill is overlooking Vesele. So all of these hills combined mean that Ukraine can attack from the high ground onto Russia, no matter which of these towns they attack. So if they attack, this way, they attack from the Ukraine can attack from the north and the south. If they attack this way, Ukraine attacks from the east and the west. And the same for every single one of these towns. So Russia has kind of run into a position here where they're unable to attack towards Siversk any longer. So all of these, so this is like kind of the main line for Ukraine right now, protecting Siversk. Spirne is part of kind of the second line of defense. So, but the main point here is that Spirne is really difficult to attack. And these four towns are also extremely difficult to attack. So what does Russia do? Because their goal is to attack Siversk, right? So, and they also can't get through Bilohorivka. So they're very frustrated right now. So their plan was to pivot, and instead of attacking north, they're now attacking west towards Zelen. I don't know how to say his name. Anyway, I can't say that name. They're moving west from Vuhledar, and looking at the 3D map, you have you see that they have moved along the low ground because they cannot get to the high ground because it's heavily fortified. But they've been moving along this low ground along Vuhledar, trying to get any sort of movement from basically out of Soledar, because they can't go north any further. So now they're trying to go west And of course, this highway here is one of the key highways to Bakhmut. The highway is no longer in use because it is under such threat, but this is one of the key roads to Bakhmut. So, or at least they used to be. So that is kind of the Siversk area where Russia feels frustrated. I think that's the way to put it. They're frustrated because Siversk is very well defended on this kind of semicircle, and now Russia is trying to push this way because they can't push north. So they're
Do we have any videos from that area lately?
I don't have any videos. No. I believe there was a video of a Russian attack like on this like black dot. But I don't have it handy. No. So that is the Siversk area. Siversk is going to be a very, very important city going forward, at least for the next month or so. And especially if Bakhmut falls. If Bakhmut falls, then Siversk will become even more important. I think Ukraine thought that things would be playing out a little bit differently than they are right now. I think that their kind of intention was that Russia would push this way and get stuck, and then kind of pivot and attack north towards Siversk, and then you would have these big battles for Siversk. I think that was kind of what Ukraine was expecting and wanting, to have Russia try to attack this way. But instead, Russia found a way to break through this part of the defensive line, and they're threatening to wrap around Bakhmut now, which has its own problems for Russia, because if they push too far this way, then it opens up this flank for a counterattack, which is kind of a similar problem that they have here, where they're pushing up towards Ivanivske and Chasiv Yar, which opens up this threat of a counterattack on their flank, which is very vulnerable right now. But yeah, the this pushing west from Blahudatny is kind of an issue.
So, can you like show this push once again on the Google Earth, so we can see the landscape and the terrain?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand what else. Like it seems like yeah. Can you zoom in a bit? It seems like it's like a valley or a ravine or something.
Yeah, this is
right.
Where they are now is yes, but if they
Is what?
Yeah, where they are now is a low ground. But if they, for example, if they continue pushing up to this highway and then kind of spread out and take this whole area, then suddenly it's a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, but still, like what I'm seeing here right now is that, well, of course, we don't know where Ukrainian positions exactly are here on this map, and even if we do, we will not show it. This is a dangerous maneuver as well by them to have this appendix that takes tries to overextends basically, and is prone to counterattacks. At least that's how it seems. That how it looks to me. I don't know in reality, but uh, yeah, it just seems somewhat dangerous, and you could lose a lot there as well
I
if
agree.
they make a mistake.
I agree. So right now, it seems um, vulnerable, but this is they've Russia has done these sort of extremely vulnerable maneuvers before, where they take a whole bunch of casualties, capturing this area, and then launch another attack. So they don't really seem to care too much about taking a whole bunch of casualties to set up this position, especially when you see what is going on a little bit to the south in Krasna or Krasna Hora. And so in Krasna Hora, the Russians took over this factory here a few days ago, and this whole eastern part of the town is heavily contested. This train track is Ukraine's main defensive line, where everything west of the train track is completely in Ukrainian control, and everything east of the train track is kind of sketchy. So, and in this one area, Russia is kind of close to that train track, but they've kind of stopped. They hit the main Ukrainian line and they started kind of spilling north, trying to take these kind of residential area here. So if these two if these two attacks can link up, then it's obviously a much stronger position for Russia. And also these two attacks can attack these two towns from the north and the south, which isn't ideal for the Ukrainians. And similarly, the Russians have been attacking towards Yahidna, which is just a little bit to the south of these two towns. So, and Ukraine has been falling back to these railroad lines running through Yahidna. In fact, this railroad line that is going through Krasna Hora and Yahidna and Bakhmut, this railroad line is likely going to be the primary line of defense for Ukraine going forward. In Bakhmut, there is another line of defense, which is the river. So you have the river going here ish. Here, I can draw it, I guess. So you have the river kind of going like that, and then you have this. Make a different color. You have the river kind of going like that, and then you have the train tracks going like this. So this is kind of two lines of defense. Actually, the river is more like anyway, whatever. So this river, they've already fallen back to this river in the northern parts of Bakhmut, and in the southern parts, they're slowly moving back to the river. In this eastern suburbs here, the Russians are attacking on three main roads. They're attacking on this road. Change color. They're attacking on this road, and this road, and this road. So they are thrusting straight into Bakhmut, like this way, trying to get to the river as fast as possible. Is kind of their goal. Also in the south, they tried pushing up this way, and that failed miserably. And now they are trying to kind of push this way, which is working a little bit better. so this kind of eastern section of Bakhmut, I imagine Russia will capture most of this eastern section in the near future. Whether Russia will be able to cross the river is another story. And if they do cross the river, we'll probably see a lot of city fighting in the middle. And then there will be this railroad section, which will probably be the final battles, I guess. Like this would be kind of the last line of defense for Bakhmut if it ever gets to that position. I mean, Ukraine might withdraw from the city at that point, but and then in the south you have Russia is pushing up this street. So I'll just kind of draw all the arrows now. So Russia's kind of pushing this way. So those are all of the main lines of defense, or the main lines of attack, and Ukraine's main defense is along the river here and along this railroad here. Okay, so Konstantin, do you want to tell us why water is so dangerous? Especially.
Russia has a good track record of successfully crossing the rivers. We've seen their Belahorivka offense, which is probably one of the most, spectacular failures of this war. When they failed, they lost, maybe 2 battalions worth of heavy equipment and resources. And this was not as, that area was not as prepared as Bakhmut back then. So I would imagine that crossing the river, even though it's a bit smaller river, is almost impossible.
This river it's not a huge river. I mean, it's not the Dnipro.
I gotta step away for a second, sorry.
Okay.
Be back in 2 minutes.
It's not a huge river. It's not the Dnipro, but it is somewhat wide. Like I've actually heard a story about a Ukrainians accidentally crashed a BMP into the river, and it was stuck there for a little while until they got a tank to pull it out. And so they did kind of drown a BMP in the river. So but yeah, it's not the biggest river, but it is still a river, and some of this is somewhat wide. I mean, I'll measure it. What kilometers and what meters? Okay, it's 30 meters wide. Well, it's not too bad. Are there any remaining bridges? No. All the bridges are dead. Russia destroyed many of the bridges. Some of the bridges were used exclusively for medevacing, and when those bridges were knocked down, it upped the medevac time, which got a few Ukrainians killed, which is unfortunate. A few of those bridges were used for supplies, and those bridges were exploded. And so yeah, all the bridges are gone. Russia blew up a few of them, and Ukraine blew up a few of them, but they're all dead. Except the dam. The dam is still there. The towns north, there are bridges, but they all exploded. I think like every major bridge is gone. I don't know of any remaining bridges.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to step out.
Well, Estan, he said, if we fill the river with Russian corpses, then the water will stop and there won't be a river. Which is true.
Well, the water still have to go somewhere, right?
Yeah. But anyway, so that's, I think I more or less talked about the entire Bakhmut area. So I guess I'll touch on the Ivanivske area again. So the the Russians are pushing towards this highway and pushing towards Ivanivske. They're doing both simultaneously. But the issue Russia is having right now is that they have been unable to cross this canal. They've been unable to secure the canal, and that is leaving them open for possible flanking attacks. And this flanking attack could come soon. I think, like as early as this week, maybe. They have this whole exposed flank that they have been having a lot of trouble controlling, where this canal is actually kind of trivial to cross at this point. Like I think it's mostly dried out, and whatever is not dried out is frozen. So you can just kind of walk across it. And Russia is really scared of a Ukrainian attack along this canal because it could really do a lot of damage to their attempt to attack Ivanivska. Russian sources have been writing about their fear of this for a while. The only place that Russia has been able to secure the canal is in this kind of limited area here, which is basically right across from Klishivka. So, but other than this, like one spot, the canal, the Ukrainians have more or less stopped the Russians from crossing the canal. So, so yeah, the Russians they've said recently that they have reached this highway, which I've not seen solid proof of. It's possible they have. I haven't seen solid proof of it though. The highway at this point doesn't matter so much because it's just such a high risk highway. You wouldn't really transfer goods this way. I don't think you would take one of the safer routes to the north. So, but yeah. And yeah, these all of these attacks are basically infantry, mortars, and artillery. Not so much armor, if any. It's basically all infantry. The same basically goes for all of Bakhmut. There's like this.
Do you have? Is there any footage of that, or just reports, or?
I mean, the best footage came from those Adam videos where they showed the attack of north of Klishivka. When Russia was attacking like right here, and you saw like just Ukraine just blowing up this whole square, just with like every single type of artillery, just blowing up everything. Those videos, I think, more or less depict what is going on here. I don't have them on hand, but you see these trenches. All of these trenches were in those videos, where you saw like the Russians kind of like moving through these trees and stuff, and anyway, it was pretty bad. But yeah, I don't have a video in hand though. Not quickly access. As for the news in the Toretsk and New York area, I don't have any. For Avdiivka, I do have Oops, wrong button. I do have news for Avdiivka. In the south of Avdiivka, the Russians have been attacking and taking like just horrific casualties. I've heard. I don't actually know where the fighting is. They said that it was near the roundabout, but the roundabout is like under Russian control, so I don't actually know. Anyway, I think it's around this highway area basically, but the Russians here have taken just catastrophic casualties. Like, do we have a video of that, Konstantin? Of Avdiivka?
Yeah, I actually have. Give me 1 second. I will give you the link to the video. I actually posted it on Twitter like 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
I could not hold it any longer in my in depths of my heart. I knew that I have to post it.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
is it bad? Am I going to get in trouble for playing it?
I don't think so. It's actually legal stated this is CGI.
Okay. I mean,
No, it's not CGI, but you don't see like blood and gore, nothing like that.
okay. I found the video. Here it is.
I send it to you in Signal. Yeah, this is it.
This is good enough. Here. Oof.
And you can see like one drop, one of most successful drops that I've seen in terms of quantity.
Yeah. So yeah, I need to. Okay. So basically that video is a drone dropping a bomb and taking out a few infantry, right? Now, if we multiply that by like 100, that's what the Russians have gone through for the past day. It's just so many. I've seen so many drone videos from Avdiivka. It's incredible. It seems that every single video takes out like at least two guys somehow, and I've heard rumors that the Russians have lost three companies worth of infantry in the past like 72 hours or so. I don't know if that's true, but I've seen enough videos that makes me kind of
And
believe it.
three companies is a battalion for people who are not aware. Three companies is a lot, and if you lose one battalion with such speed, it's not going well for you.
Yeah, and they've lost tanks as well. They've lost BMPs. And they've been having like I don't even understand. Like I don't understand why you would attack Avdiivka at this point. Like what is there to even gain? I don't get it. But that's what they decided to do, and they took pretty catastrophic losses, in my opinion. It's just these are losses that I think if you were in like a NATO army or whatever, you would probably end up in prison. Like I don't like they're completely unacceptable losses. There's no purpose in these attacks and no hope that they would ever succeed. So
Yeah, and just to take like if they even manage to take one trench, you lose three companies. It's insane. I gotta step out for a second once again, sorry.
okay, so a little bit to um a little bit to the west. First, this area here. I know a lot of people wonder about this. This is a base called Zenith. It's like a nuclear bunker. But north of Vodyane and Opytne, they the Russians have been moving towards Siversk, and they've made some progress in the past few days, but not exceptionally much. This whole area is difficult to attack because it's kind of wide open. Here, I'll go to the 3D view. Uh, you see, this land is more or less wide open and flat, so you can set up like ATGMs, anti-tank missiles, along these like tree lines and hedge lines and whatever, and you can cover extremely long distances with these missiles, and also cover with artillery as well, obviously, and mortars. So if you get a few drones in the air, you can cover a lot. So
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
okay. Yeah, and then so that's kind of the news for the Avdiivka area. So the suicide attacks in Avdiivka, kind of slight movement in Vodyane. In Marinka, there's they captured the Russians captured these like 5 buildings here, and they lost, I believe, T-90 in the process. Anyway, so
How much they lost once again?
what's that?
How much did they lose?
I saw a video of I think it was a T-90 exploding in this building complex. It was like right here, I think. But yeah, it was but yeah, they crossed this road, which was a major barrier for them. They've been unable to cross this road. I think it's called Druzhba or whatever. But so they managed to cross it after like 3 months of trying. They captured these like 5 buildings, and they're trying to expand like south this way, because they can't fight in the middle of Marinka. They just can't get through it. So they're trying to go around it, and that in any way they can. They tried going north of Marinka, and it did not get anywhere. And now they're trying to go south around it. They kind of like alternate. It's like, oh, the south didn't work, let's try the north again. No, the north didn't work, let's try the south again. So now we're on the south, kind of their TikTok. But anyways, this kind of area is kind of boring to me, to be honest, because it's just kind of just soulless urban grinding, and a hellscape. So anyway, so getting down.
Were there any new videos from Marinka or not? I remember the one with the drone where with all the destruction,
Well,
and
yeah,
there is not much left.
Yeah, there's nothing left. I saw a few more videos of Marinka being totally demolished, and I figured there's no point in showing. Like, I feel like I show a video of Marinka being destroyed like once a week, so I decided not to this week. But there are like 5 videos of just drones flying around showing how like every single building is gone, which is just it's just really depressing. But but yeah. And then getting down into the Vuhledar, these dachas to the east have been completely demolished by Russian artillery. Very, very heavy shelling. These kind of dachas to the north of Pavlivka have also been completely destroyed by Russian shelling. And these kind of dachas to the west of Mikilska have is kind of the front line-ish, kind of. So in the past, well, yesterday, Russia did a series of attacks towards Vuhledar. I believe they're around here-ish to the east, near Mikilska. But they did a number of attacks where they lost reportedly 30 or more armored vehicles, including a lot of tanks. Like there's like one photograph of like 13 destroyed armored vehicles just like sitting next to each other. So I mean, losing 30 armored vehicles in a single day is just incredible to me. Like I don't understand how you do that. And then also achieve literally nothing. Like what is even the point, you know? So but in and then and also to the south of Vuhledar, um where is that town? Uh in this town here, um these two buildings in the center of town, I believe these are two buildings, but Ukraine completely demolished them. They were being used as a kind of headquarters for the Russians, where they were kind of the Russians kind of send their forces into these three towns here, and then they feed them north into Volodar. So like this is kind of like a staging area, I guess. And Ukraine has just been systematically shelling all of the buildings that they use to stage these troops, which is kind of funny. Um, so yeah, this Vuhledar area, Russia has like thousands and thousands and thousands of troops here. It's crazy the number of troops that they have. How many they're committing, especially how many they're committing compared to the
But
literally zero success. Like they've accomplished nothing.
to to add some context here, also people understand when you have thousands of thousands, it's usual there is only some fraction of them that is capable of performing assault operations. Not because they're poorly trained, but simply because not many people are have the health, not many people has the will to do this, not many people are just ready to go there. Because a lot, even if you have someone behind you with a gun that says he will kill you, a lot of people would just land on the ground and say, "No, I'm not going anywhere," because they're just, it's morally really hard to go into operations that you will almost certainly will die in, and that's just not many like those losses in Vuhledar that you see. They are much harder to replenish than many people think. That's why, for example, when Russia lost almost all their like assault forces capabilities in Kiev, they had to completely rethink their strategies and shift all the focus to Donbass, simply because they lost all the capabilities, and even in Donbass, their success was really slow. They took like Severodonetsk and Lysychansk, and that's basically all they could do. Everywhere else, it just so slow crawling with such huge losses. And what we're seeing right now, it's just it's going to hinder them even more. Of course, they can mobilize more fresh meat, more cannon for the next offensives, but it's not that they're degrading their forces each and every day, and they're just squeezing the juice out of everything that they can, and I just don't think they can maintain it for much longer.
No, and then in in these attacks, from what I understand, they're using mobilized troops to do these attacks because they've more or less run out of actual soldiers. At least they've run out of soldiers to the point where they're no longer willing to lose them in these kind of suicide attacks. They're just kind of holding them in reserve. So they're using the mobilized for these attacks, and a lot of these mobilized, they might have some training. I'm sure they have whatever training Russia gave them however many years ago, which was, notoriously not great training. So, and then in the past few months, they might have another, 8, 9, 10 weeks of training in addition to that. So these guys they're coming in with maybe maybe 2 to 3 months of training at most, and they're just being thrown straight into this situation where they're attacking across these huge open fields with like no cover, fighting against people on high ground in fortified positions, and they don't really stand a chance. So it's I almost feel bad for them, but then I don't. this okay. So the Zaporizhzhia front, there's minor fighting going on around Dorozhenyanka towards Hulupole. It's barely worth talking about, and that's all I'm gonna say. And then the same for Nesteryanka towards Orkiv, which is again barely worth talking about. So that's kind of the news around the country. Okay, so Konstantin, would you like to talk about the work you've been doing for the past like year?
Could you repeat that? Sorry, your sound was pretty bad for me.
Okay, would you like to talk about the work you've been doing for the past year or so, like the past?
Yeah, sure. That would be great. I think we have. It would be great if I can talk about it. I'm not the best speaker though, but still, I wanted Andrew and I seen these questions as well. We've been like recently we supplied one of our Ukrainian soldiers with the batteries, like battery packs that allow to that we use to build special radio backpacks and antennas and get add special chargers to attach special chargers to those batteries. So it's basically a mobile radio made of just Motorola DM460 radio that has a really strong signal. It's pretty hard to jam. I think it has 40 watts output, which is really hard to jam. And they have this special antenna that we're going to show in this video that allows. It has really good signal handling and allows to get the. So the feedback was that the guys were able to get the signal from inside the basement 2 miles away. 2 kilometers away, which may have saved their lives because they would stay in contact with their command and get all the updates and get the orders and understand these have situational awareness of what's happening. This, by the way, happened near the Novoselivsk. I've shown. I think I posted the video with the two T-90 tanks firing, moving in and out. Russian T-90 tanks, which were later destroyed. This was in the same area, and just may well as be one of those combat engagements that we have seen. And yeah, this is I just watch it, and the guy here, my friend Alexei, he explains how it works and why it was important, and I will follow on as he goes. So you can start the video, Andrew.
Okay. The audio might be a little awkward for this, but I'm sorry, you're gonna have to deal with it. So here I go.
Yeah, so as it goes, this is my friend Alexei. He is the communication officer inside 92nd Brigade. He's working on. He came up with this idea to make this backpacks. You see this oval-shaped thing. That's the antenna, remote antenna. That's supposed to be, you can hand it as high as you want, of course, to have more effect. But it worked even from the basement. We supplied them with the backpacks to create this, and with the you see the red and black thing. This is a battery with a charger. I thank all who participated in this Amazon list to buy them. And at the same time, what we did is, so yeah, you see, this is a connected radio to this battery. It's a quite powerful radio that has 40 watt that can, like I've said, it's pretty tolerant to jamming because of that. And also in another pocket, he's going to show here. This is another charger to charge portable radios, such as Motorola, a small handheld Motorola, so you can just plug it in and get a charge from this remote battery. And right now, we're as our groups move in and out, we supplied such backpacks so they can keep communications going even with the jamming on with a lot of suppression, enemy suppression on, and it's like we receive really good positive feedback on them. We did not do that much, we just did the batteries and antennas and the backpacks. Most of them, it's just Alexei ingenuity. He came up with it, with this idea, and these antennas are manufactured also in Ukraine, just by all our local, radio enthusiasts that just came up with this. And I think it's one of the coolest projects that had really big impact. I cannot say that it's like, and it was pretty cheap. Like this radio cost $700. The antenna cost around $100. The battery, I think it was around $100 as well. So it's $1,000 backpack, around $1,000 backpack that actually has like really big impact. And this was like, and it's all made inside Ukraine, and it's a pretty interesting project that I thought that it, and thanks to Andrew for pointing out that he came up with this. Let's show it, let's explain people. And I don't think it's. I think everyone understands the importance of the communications in areas such as this. They just save lives. The communication, being aware, keeping the connection with your command is actually like super important for everyone.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I did not fully understand what we were raising money for, because I know you said that we needed like backpacks and batteries. I was like, okay. But yeah, when you came out with what the final product was, it's awesome.
Yeah, it was hard to explain. I mean, this like just that is, but importance of this. Like, I know there was a group that had this backpack. They lost their commander, unfortunately, and they lost all the connections with outside world. And at some because they had another portable radio that they used to connect with, but because the portable radio is much, it's only 8 watts. I think they didn't, and it has no antenna. They just could not get through, and they took, unfortunate reality, they took it off his body when he was killed in action. I made a tweet about him as well. His call sign was Ranger, and this backpack basically allowed them to stay in contact, communicate.
No. So these backpacks cost
Start panicking. $1,000.
$1,000.
Yes. So together with the radio, together with the battery, the antenna, and the backpack, it's around maybe around 1,000 plus minus. It all depends. It's probably 1,000 euros, not 1,000.
Yeah, I mean that's still not too bad. That's pretty reasonable. And it's a lot cheaper than a
Yeah,
drone.
if it saves the life, of the group or consisting of 15, 20 people, that's definitely worth it. Yeah, and that's just one of the projects that we're doing, and it's like anyone can participate in it. We did this through the Amazon list. It was successful. We closed it overnight, I think. Yeah, and we're still doing, like we have, we found the batteries inside Ukraine, so we don't do Amazon list for them, and they're pretty okay. But this was a good start. I mean, this all our project just this idea, the Amazon list just kick-started it, and when everyone realized that it's working, and now they're sharing this experience with other groups as well, and I'm really happy that it worked out, and I really thank Andrew for bringing this up.
And you have another thing of trying to supply drones right now, right?
Yeah, drones in Ukraine. What we do also, we supply drones. Yeah, drones are super important. They provide like the key here. People think a lot that it's only for drop those things that you see being dropped, but it's not exactly true. They are used to save civilian lives a lot because you can do search and rescue operations with them. Yeah, you can understand where the enemy and when you have the situational awareness, you can actually plan your evacuation routes. You can use drones to search for the bodies as well, which is important. And trust me, if you had like I have, for example, one of my friends whose body have not been recovered, and I can imagine that this project such as this can help it. And yeah, this is our current drone project. It's almost complete.
Very
The
close.
target is $35,000, and with your help, we managed to raise today $10,000 just today. So it's like absolutely amazing. Just love it, and just thanking Andrew for pairing it, and I thank everyone who comes here for also, I know that there are a lot of subscribers, a lot of people who actually donate to our projects, and they are all tax deductible
Yep.
inside the United States. So you're welcome to participate. Thank you, absolutely. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, it's this. If you go to this tweet, this is the link. But anyways, I think you're doing fantastic work. Uh, we've you bought so many drones. Like I don't even know how many drones you've bought. And it's doing a lot to help a lot of people, and I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, and this was a great stream as well. I think we had up to 150 live listeners, which is pretty cool, for us. So greatly appreciate you coming. Please come again to Andrew's next updates, and I will be more actively engaging in them in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming, everybody, and we'll see you on Thursday. Right. Goodbye.
Yep. See you in 2 days. Bye.
Bye. Oh, and thank you for subscribing. Right. Bye.